The viewer layer of the XEO framework is known as XEO Web Components. In order to interact with an XEO application, you can create XEO viewers, which are basically containers for XEO Web Components. Each viewer is declared using an XML syntax where you lay out existing components to achieve the desired result. The viewer also has a backing bin, also declared in the XML, where you can control component behavior and data sources. Using XEO Studio, you can also preview changes you make to a viewer. You can create viewers any way you like using components, but there are 4 default viewer types. Main viewers, which create the application workspace, composed of a tree menu on the left and a panel on the right where you can open other viewers. There are also list viewers to list instances of XEO models with grouping, sorting and filtering capabilities. Edit viewers to edit a specific model instance, and lookup viewers to find a specific instance, allowing you to relate instances with one another. XEO Studio provides wizards to create each of these types of viewers, and also a scaffolding tool to generate viewers from XEO model definitions. You can also create custom viewers that do not depend on XEO model instances by using components and the backing bin to perform your logic. There are over 50 predefined components, including panels, charts, tabs, tree panels, grids, inputs, buttons, and more that can be laid out as you wish. XEO Web Components are very flexible and provide several properties which can be customized in the XML declaration of the component. Or you can customize that component using Java code in the backing bin. Now I would like to talk to you about one of the really cool features of the XEO framework, which is its tight integration between XEO models and XEO Web Components. I've already set up a demo XEO model where I created a set of attributes of different types. We have a text attribute, a number, date, time, and I've already created a set of viewers so that I can list instances and edit instances. But I wanted to show you how web components integrate with XEO models. I have this demo edit viewer where we have fields to edit several of the attributes of a single instance of this demo model. And as you can see, we have the labels, the label of the attribute. As you can see here, when we declared the various labels, we have the labels of the attributes, and also we have different types of inputs to choose the values for different types of attributes. For instance, the favorite date attribute has a little calendar to choose a date. This is because we have declared the favorite date attribute as date. And you can see from the other types of attributes we have different input fields so that you can type the values. But how is this achieved? When you declare your viewer using the XML syntax, you basically have to declare the attribute component and say that it is connected to the name attribute in the case of the name attribute, and you can do the same for basically every attribute that is present in the demo XEO model. And the attribute component will basically read from the model definition and render itself accordingly, and will only allow you to set values that are valid for the type of attribute we have. But an even more interesting feature is that you can change the attributes with certain conditions, and it will reflect on the visual layer. For instance, we can have this name attribute, and we would like to make it as a required attribute so that you cannot save an instance of this demo model without typing a name. To do that, we basically have to define it as a required attribute. We save the model. The builder generates the classes to support this. And if I now go to the web browser and I choose to create a new instance, in this situation, we now have the name attribute marked in red. And if I try to save this instance without typing a name, we basically will get an error message. You see, fields marked in red have errors. But now, if I type a name, I will be able to save this instance. Another thing that's really useful is, for example, the possibility of having default values for attributes. Imagine, for instance, that I want the age attribute to have a default value of 12. I simply type it. I save my model. And when I return to the web browser and try to create a new instance of my model, we now see that default value is 12. We can do things a little bit more complicated than this. We can, for example, use Java to implement some custom validation rules. For example, I'll choose a rule for when the age attribute is valid. The code is already here because I've written it before. But imagine that you want a situation where the age attribute must be bigger than 18. So we basically check the value of our attribute, and if it's over 18, the attribute is valid. If not, we add an error message to the instance and return false. This means that if I just save my model, if I now return to the browser and try to create a new instance, you will see that even if I type a name which is required, if I try to press save, I get the error message that I set in the Java code. So this is very useful to perform validation without having to worry with the interface and the error messages that should be displayed. Another interesting feature is the formula. We will basically try to set this year still retirement attribute to be the difference between the age and the current age of the person and 65 years of age. So we basically say we want to have a formula, and we use the calculation. We basically check the difference between 65 and the current age of the person we're editing. And also we want to make it to depend on age. So whenever the user changes its age, time to retirement is updated. So I basically save my model. I again return to the browser. And I want to create a new instance, and you'll notice that the formula has already been applied to the age of 12. If I change to the age of 18, the formula updates the value in the input field. So this is again all reading from the model, and the web layer behaves accordingly. If you don't want to use XEO Web Components, you can use the Java API to build your own custom interfaces, using technologies such as Java Server Pages, Java Server Faces, etc. By doing this, you will have all the freedom you want, but you won't be able to take advantage of many of the things XEO Web Components gives you for free. With this, we end the video on XEO's basic concepts. If you would like to know more, visit us at www.xeoframework.org and check out our wiki and forum. Thanks for watching.